I'm Kate Godin and I'm a volunteer attorney for the Rhode Island ACLU. Today I'm going to give you a quick rundown of what your rights are when encountering the police. We all have some fundamental rights. For example, you have the right to not be profiled or stopped by law enforcement because of your perceived race, national origin, religion, sexual orientation, or immigration status. If you're being questioned by the police, then you have the right to ask if you're free to leave. If the officer says yes, you should do so and walk quietly and calmly away. If the officer says no, then you have the right to ask why. If an officer does not present you with a search warrant, you do not have to agree to a search of yourself, your belongings, or your vehicle. Be clear and firm, but polite when asserting that you are not consenting to a search. If the officer proceeds to search your car, your person, or your belongings, clearly and calmly state that you are not consenting to that search and do not physically intervene to search or say anything else. If you are arrested, you have the right to your own attorney or to a court-appointed attorney if you can't afford one. If you ask for a lawyer, the police have to stop questioning you immediately and cannot ask you anything further until your lawyer arrives. That being said, if you can't afford an attorney, you won't have a court-appointed attorney or public defender with you at the police station, so it's best not to say anything to the police. You will be assigned an attorney at or after your arraignment. Simply put, it's generally best to stay silent, except for your name and address, and to verbally tell the officer that you are choosing to remain silent. You do not have to answer any questions or sign any statements. You also don't need to sign any form that says you've been advised of your rights or that you're waiving your rights. If you decide to answer questions, you can stop at any time and should clearly state that you are now invoking your right to remain silent. If you're stopped by the police while walking or driving, do not run away and do not resist being arrested. It is illegal to resist arrest even if you are innocent. Also, make sure that your hands are clearly visible to the officer so that he or she does not have the opportunity to think you're reaching for a weapon or hiding illegal contraband. If you're stopped by the police on the street, you should give your real name and address if asked. Do not lie about your identity, or you could be charged with obstruction of justice. If you're arrested, the police do have the right to search your person and maybe your belongings and car for weapons and contraband, even without a warrant. If the arrest was unlawful, the evidence seized might later be kept out of court, but don't resist the arrest or the search when it's happening. If you've been stopped in your car, you must show the police your license, registration, and proof of insurance. Again, if the officer asks to look inside your car and doesn't have a warrant, you have the right to refuse to consent to a search. However, if police have probable cause to believe your car contains evidence of a crime, they can do the search without your consent and without a warrant. Even if you do not think that the officer is legally searching your vehicle, you must not physically intervene in the search. These rights apply even if you're an undocumented immigrant and do not have your papers. You are not required to answer any questions about where you were born, whether you are a U.S. citizen, or how you entered the country. If you are not a U.S. citizen and an immigration agent requests your immigration papers, you must show them if you have them with you. If you're over 18, carry your immigration documents with you at all times. If you do not have immigration papers, say you want to remain silent. Do not lie about your immigration status to the officer and do not submit any false documentation. Finally, if you believe you've been mistreated by the police, do not physically resist officers or threaten to file a complaint. Make note of badge numbers, card numbers, the agency the officer was with, and any other important details you can remember. You can file a formal complaint in the future with the Police Department's Office of Internal Affairs if you believe you've been mistreated. Remember, the Constitution affords you fundamental rights. For more detailed information about those rights when dealing with the police, as well as information about students' rights, open record requests, voting rights, and privacy rights, visit www.riaclu.org.